Hey darlings, today we're going to talk about boundaries and how they can make relationships better and make you feel more hopeful, maybe, hopefully, that they're hard. So, the reason this is on my mind is the other day I had like a not particularly fun little fight thing with my love. Um, he had been just kind of like snippy the last few days. And this is something I've been working on, and this is how I react if he's feeling crabby. Because I was doing better, and I still am better than I used to be. Because if someone was angry at me, didn't matter for what, like I would instantly feel terrible about myself, probably cry, probably go hide in a closet. Pretty bad. And it's definitely gotten better. Like now I don't run away and cry. But I still don't like it. And it's something I was talking with about my therapist back when I had one. And she's like, yeah, your partner's just a little bit of a Krabby Patty. Like that's just how he gets overwhelmed. That's how he deals. It comes out as anger. It's not you. Like don't take it personally, and try different ways to react and see what happens. And I kind of tried to do that, and I knew that like if I didn't let myself get super upset or hurt or whatever and just kind of like let it roll off my back, that was generally the best. But I struggled to do that if there's just like consistent snipping over a period of time, because if it's just kind of here and there, no big deal. But if it's a few days, a couple times a day, it really gets to me. And so the other day had been going on for a bit, and I addressed it, and I was like, I just basically started to shut down. Actually, maybe that's what I did. I didn't necessarily address it the best. It was just like, whoa, like done. And then he was frustrated because he was like, oh, like you're shutting down, because he doesn't like it, because to him it's just that's how he reacts. So he doesn't understand why like I get so hurt and bothered by it. So then I was trying to explain it, and I was trying to say, like, I don't feel safe. Like, when there's a lot of time of no snipping, it's awesome. It's amazing. But it's like when there is, like, if it's a few times, like, over the course of a few days, like, it just gets to me, and I struggle with it. I don't like it, and I don't, like, I grew up in a family that didn't show anger. So, which is not normal, I don't think, and I think it's made me like really extra sensitive to it. But I have this belief that's like you don't treat someone you love like that. Like I get getting angry, I get getting frustrated, but especially if it's over something really little that might not set them off at other times. You never really know if it's like a walking on eggshells kind of feeling. Which it's like he's not going to ever be like verbally super mean. He's not going to physically do anything bad. So it's like I have nothing to be afraid of. I just don't like it. I just feel like that's not how you treat a partner. And so we were talking about this, and I was just trying to explain how it made me feel. And he was just like, what do you want from me? Like, I work on myself so hard. I've gone through anger management. I do my morning routine. I work out a couple times a day. Like, I work hard at work. I help you in the house. And it's like all of these things are super true. So then I'm feeling like a complete dickbag, because I'm like, you're right. Like, you do all this stuff. I'm complaining about this one thing. So then I started to feel really confused, because I'm like, this thing, it's important to me. Like, I don't like it. But he does all of this stuff, so I'm like, do I even have a right to, like, complain about it or to bring it up or to address it? And I just felt really confused and gross inside. And then I remembered something that was very silly. One time I was on Facebook, and there was, like, a little infographic for parents on what to do if you blow up at your kids. And it said something like, go to your kid, and you're like, I'm really sorry. Sometimes parents have big emotions, too. I felt a lot of stuff. I snapped at you. You didn't deserve it. I'm sorry. I love you. And reading that, like, I don't have kids. I am not a kid, but that gave me like the warm fuzzies like nobody's business. And I was like, I want that. And so I was like, can I ask for that? Like, is that really dumb to be like, hey, if you snap at me, can you just be like, oh, crap, I'm sorry. Like, you don't deserve that. I love you. Just leave it at that and move on. Because usually if I bring it up, there's like different kind of excuses almost, like, or well, I'm sorry that you're sensitive to this, but I mean, he doesn't sound like that, Dick Baggy. Wait, I have a chia seed in my teeth, sorry. But like, you know, this is who I am. I'm sorry that it hurts your feelings. You know, it's one of those things that feels very much like, hey, you're bringing me an issue, but I can't change it. I do all these different things, like, you know, because he was saying, like, I'm bipolar, like, kind of a duh, like, this is gonna happen. You know, I'm gonna snap at you, and I'm trying, but it's just gonna happen, and I felt so sad. And then also when I brought up that, the thing that I wanted, I'm like, can you just do this? Like, I know it sounds weird. And he's like, I've done that before and it didn't work. And I felt so sad and crazy, too, because I'm like, has he done that before? And I'm like, I don't think he has. Like, he might have apologized, but it might have been the, like, hey, I'm sorry this hurt your feelings, but this is who I am. Because I'm like, that's very different than just like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that. So I'm like, am I crazy? Is this thing that I want actually a thing that he's done that hasn't worked? And so I just got really, really extra upset because I'm like, okay, now on top of this, I'm crazy. And I was just feeling so confused, and I just completely shut down, completely became a lump, and let like all these different irrational thoughts plague me, and kind of had this thought, this is like a really poor coping mechanism that I realized I have done for like years, and I've only recently started to break it, except it came back, because sometimes we go backwards. It's like, okay, if I can show him how much this hurts me, maybe he'll realize that, like, it is a bigger deal to me. So if I'm just depressed for, like, several days, and I'm just a lump, and I don't do anything, will he realize, like, how sad I am, and, like, try to make the change? Which isn't good for him, and it isn't good for me. Like, I don't want to sit around and be a lump. But yeah, that night, he had to make me, like, go to bed, because I was like, I'm just gonna lay on the couch. Like, he had to make me, like, go to bed, or, like, brush my teeth, go to bed. And I was just, like, on the edge of the bed, like, almost falling off, just, like, the entire night, woke up, just, like, all sad and depressed. And it was really ridiculous. And this is embarrassing to talk about. To be like, hey, I'm crazy, how's it going? How are you doing? I'm telling you, why not? Maybe you're crazy too. Maybe that word offends you. I don't know. I'm sorry. So yeah, I was just all depressed, but I was like trudging through my morning routine because I'm like, I have goals. Like, I still need to write and record and take care of myself while depressed. That's fun. So doing my morning stuff, and then Women of Impact came up on YouTube with Lisa Bilyeu, and I enjoy the Bilieus quite a lot. So I'm like, I'm going to listen to this because it was something about, like, how to stop people manipulating you. I'm like, interesting. So I'm, like, watching it while I'm getting ready for the day. And there's a therapist, and she's talking about how important it is to set boundaries, you know, just for the health of our relationships and for our own sanity. And I was like, okay, interesting. And she's like, yeah, a lot of times when you bring your boundaries to someone, they will try to get out of it. So they might do some gaslighting. They might be like, you're too sensitive, you're too this, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's what was happening! I was trying to set the boundary, and he was just like, that doesn't work. Like, this is how it is. This is how I am. And I was like, oh, and for whatever reason, hearing that made me feel so much better because I was very confused because I was like I said, I'm like, am I crazy? Because I'm like, this is what I want you to do. And then it was like, no, I've tried that. Like, it didn't work. So I was like, So yeah, it was really helpful. And I was like, and I started like pull out of that depression thing because I knew it would help. Like I've done it before. It never works. And I still have that chia seed in my tooth. Darn you, energy bites. Anyway, so then just for whatever reason, I was like, okay, I can build a boundary on this and I can stick to it. Like I don't have to just be not bullied. Bullied isn't the right word. And the cool thing that the therapist was saying is like people will do this like not out of trying to hurt you, because it's hard enough to change ourselves for us. It's even harder to change ourselves for other people. You know, and a lot of times if somebody sets a boundary, it can be very inconvenient. And like I know that I have pushed things before. And so I was definitely trying not to take it personally, but I was like, I can set my boundary and I can be like, hey, this is what I want. And then if it doesn't happen, I can decide how I want to respond. So I can, you know, be like, hey, dude, like that was uncalled for. Please apologize, move on. Tell me you love me. Because that's just what I want, like that reassurance. Because in the moment, I feel like he hates me. And I'm very like I said, I'm sensitive. And I don't like the feeling of someone just like snapping at me when I haven't done anything like might have been like a little bit annoying. Unintentionally, but if someone just like treats you like you're just someone they really don't like, you know, it's not fun. So if I can just be like, like, hey, this is what I want, and if that doesn't happen, I can do something. I don't know what, trial and error I've got, but I can just be like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna go record in my sexy closet. I'm going to... This toy is falling apart. Just put that over there. You know, I can remove myself from this situation. I can do something. But it like somehow like made me feel so much better, because I think it made me feel like I had like my power back, that I didn't have to just be like, oh, he said, like he basically said no, or I can just be like, yo, and I can just keep resetting that boundary until he respects it, or until I figure out some response that makes it better. So I haven't totally figured everything out, but it made me feel better. It gave me hope, because that's the thing that I think is so difficult when we get in a rut, is we feel like a situation isn't going to change. You know, and I've made a good amount of progress for my mental health, but being able to be snipped at like repeatedly is still one of those things that I like struggle with. And like I said, it's difficult because he is so good in a lot of different ways. And so it is kind of like a mind like rah. But I mean that's definitely a way for a person to get out of that boundary. It's just like, well, I do all these other things great. So yeah, I want you to kind of keep an eye out for things like that. Like if you ask somebody something and they're just like, well, it could be worse. Don't let them get away with that, yo. I don't know why I said yo, I'm sorry. But yeah, call people out in a loving way. Don't be a jerk. Don't be mean. Don't be like, Kira Joel told me to get on your case. Piece of crap. No, don't do it. Be nice. Be loving. This person probably loves you or cares about you. You probably love or care about them. But yeah, boundaries are hard, especially because when we're little, a lot of times we're kind of made to feel like we can't set our boundaries. You know, you might have creepy Uncle Ted being like, give me a hug, and you're like, no, and then your mom's like, hug creepy Uncle Ted, you know, and then you have to, and then you're like, I guess I don't get to do, like I have to do these things that make me uncomfortable. Or if it's like, you finish your plate, and you're like, I'm full, like, you know, and then you're taught to even ignore your body cues, which leads to other problems. So yeah, boundaries. Gosh darn it. Let's set some boundaries up. Let's do it. I highly recommend listening to that video. I probably won't link it below. I need to work on that. Women of Impact. Check it out. It's good stuff. Okay. Am I done now? I don't know. I think I'm done. My dog is eating this. It's not good. Okay, bye.